Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, April 4th, 2025. Welcome to another eBay video. In tonight's video, I'm going to be discussing some of the trials and tribulations that Cute Joey has experienced just this week alone as an eBay seller. I have a lot to tell you, and I think you're going to find it very interesting. The first topic will be, once again, the same topic I've been doing every week: unfair negative feedback. I've been selling on eBay for 26 years, and I've never seen it like this. There are some buyers that would rather leave negative feedback for sellers than ask for a return. Those are the ones I've been running into. The one I'm going to expose tonight is a whole different animal. This is something I don't think I've ever seen before. Not only is this person a hater who loves to leave bad feedback for his sellers, but he likes to invoke religion into the feedback, mentioning specifically Jesus Christ, Yahweh ben Yahweh, and all kinds of other crazy things. I'm not asking you to believe me, because I'm going to show you in the screenshot, which is going to come up shortly. We're going to do a cutaway. I also want to talk about how I got stung again for the 99th time by another octogenarian who has no business being on eBay or even online. It's just unbelievable how these people, these old-timers, find me like a magnet to steal. We'll talk about that, and we're going to talk about some other eBay issues as time permits. I want to start off first with the unfair negative feedback, if I may. So let me set the stage. I sold an item to a buyer. He got the item and he tried to install it himself and broke it. I'll be the first person to admit that not everybody is as skilled as the other person. I get that. It's like the example I tell you guys periodically about the plumber. If I come home from work and I see my drains are clogged or the water's not running, I am not a skilled plumber. I will not undertake it. I make money so that I can afford to call a skilled plumber and pay him for his services. All right? I stay in my lane, but there are people that refuse to do that in the auto parts industry. They try and do things that they're not capable of doing. Usually it's geriatrics, and I'll introduce you to one of them later. But let me tell you about this guy. He bought some items from me. He went to install the item and broke it, as I said. Okay, it happens. He doesn't contact me in any way. He goes right to that red dot and leaves me negative feedback. That is something I've been noticing a big increase in lately. People would rather leave a negative than get their money back, and I don't understand this. There are two reasons, I think. Number one, the person has no intention of returning it. Maybe he did break it, but he can probably still use it good enough. Or maybe he knows it was totally his fault and he figures he'll drag someone else down with him to his level. But the negative feedback itself isn't really what bugged me out. It's the fact that he's using religion. All right? Religion has no place in e-commerce. You keep that in your church. That's your business if you want to believe in that. All right? That's your right. You don't inflict it on anyone else, and you don't use the Bible, ever, to try and harass or demean people. I think I better go to the cutaway now, because I don't want to lose my cool on this, because this is one of those topics that can very easily trigger Cute Joey. So I'm going to sit back and take a drink of my Gatorade. We'll do the cutaway, and I want to talk more about this after you see what happened. Guys, in this section of the video, I'm going to show you a piece of human trash. that not only loves to leave negative feedback for most of his sellers, but he also likes to invoke religion in the comments. So look at the screen as I show you some of these. Here you can see he left a neutral, but there's nothing really weird about that. Here, a positive feedback, but from the verbiage, you can see that it sounds like the seller caved in and probably gave him a full refund and let him keep the item. But let's look at this one here. I'm not worried about his comments with the item because I'm not going to judge him on that. But I am going to call him out for his comments invoking religion. It's just unbelievable, one after the other. All right? So let's take a look at some of these. And again, don't think I'm glossing by all the negatives, because I just want to point out the religion. Here's one right here. Jesus Christ will deal with all the corruption and greed very soon. Trust God, not man. That's weird. It was a pleasure doing business with a fellow brother in Christ. Stay strong and trust in God, not man. All right? Here you go with another one. Again, I'm only skipping to the religious part. Proverbs 22, verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil, and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. King James Version, shame on me for trusting in mere flesh. Oh, they get better. Well, this guy got away pretty easy. No religious aspects. God bless, and Jesus loves you. All right, let's look at the next page. Here he's covering another base. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh bless you. May Yahweh bless you. I think you're getting the aspect of it here. I don't know why some people feel the need to bring religion into a business transaction, but it's been my experience that those who do use it for malevolent purposes. And as I said, this piece of human garbage left me negative feedback without even contacting me first. Didn't contact me. I offer 30-day returns, no questions asked. But he knew he was at fault and he wasn't returning anything. So that's why he didn't even attempt to contact me. But thankfully, eBay Concierge listened. They looked at the facts and they removed this unwarranted negative feedback. Let's get back to the video. I can honestly tell you that in my 26 years on eBay, I think this is the first time I've ever seen such an egregious case of somebody trying to use religion and manipulate it to conform to his own uses. And this really triggers me, these people. These Bible-thumping bastards. Let me tell you something. I got to keep it chill. I got to relax. Okay. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. 12 long years, okay? And I am amazed at how some people manipulate religion for their own good. If you hear my dog snoring, I guess this subject is putting her to sleep, and maybe she's the smart one in the group. But yeah, now let's talk about getting the feedback removed. As you know, guys, it qualifies for removal because if the buyer breaks the item because she's not skilled enough to put it on or use it. For instance, if the buyer bought something from you, okay? Let's say he bought something from you. Let's just say, what could it be? An iPhone. You're selling an iPhone. He gets the item. It arrives undamaged. He's happy with that. He goes to use it and he breaks the screen. Okay? That's on him. But he leaves you a negative feedback saying, I went to use my iPhone and the screen broke way too easily. If anything, that's a product review. And it's also a review of his lack of skill. Someone that shouldn't even have an iPhone. But anyway, so, by the way, this happened on Thursday. I requested a call back Thursday after lunch because that's when I spotted the feedback. I spotted it within the hour because I always know the last two numbers of my feedback. And when I saw it was -1, I knew I had a problem. Called up, got a nice lady on the phone. She looked at it. She said, no problem. It qualifies for removal. It'll be gone in 2 hours. 2 hours came, feedback stayed. 4 hours later, feedback stayed. 6 hours later, the feedback stayed. I called again, got a different lady. She looked at it and she said, yes, this qualifies for removal. I'll remove it in 2 hours. I said, that's great. I said, but that's what the last lady said. And she said to me, well, I took a look into that since you mentioned it, and we have 5 steps that we have to go through in order to remove the feedback. And it looks like she did the first 4 of them, but after she did the first 4, she didn't submit it to the team. So it never got removed. So it's a good thing that I called in the second time. That being said, guys, it looks like once again I have won. And every time that cute Joey wins, you know what's going to happen. Let's do it. My next topic is a topic that's been a thorn in my side for a long time, but it's also another problem that's gotten worse over the last year. Geriatric eBay buyers. I am not a hater. If I can come out here and make a statement and show you proof, I am reporting facts. And I am so sick of these old folks trying to do something they're not capable of doing. I read a comment from one of you guys, which I thought was excellent, and I thank you for submitting the comment. It was either in one of my videos or it may have been direct email to me. And forgive me for not remembering who it was and which venue it was, but what they basically said was, they said, Joe, I've been watching you complain about octogenarians for a while, and at first I thought maybe you were a little bit too rough on them. But let me tell you something. I've had 3 of them this month, and all 3 of them cause me problems. They don't know what they're doing on eBay. They refuse to send the item back through the eBay return system. They're generally a nuisance, so I totally understand where you're coming from. That being said, guys, it's a serious problem. All right? Everybody's good at different things, I get that. But I can understand people making a mistake. But what really triggers me with these people is their stubbornness and stupidity and refusing to admit they made the mistake. I often use the example of buying a Timex watch at a Timex price and a person thinking they're getting a Rolex watch. Any rational person would not think they're getting a Rolex watch for $20. These generics, these geriatrics, they think they're getting one for $20. They're just so far out of it. And they won't admit that they're wrong. In the past, I've showed you examples of Lincoln caps and Mercury caps that fall into this pattern, and once again, it was one of the Lincoln caps. Now you're probably thinking, Joe, you've had so many problems with these. Why did you list them? I list them with every possible explanation given. I have the part numbers, the year of the vehicle it fits, and a picture of the alloy. Only buy this item if you have this alloy wheel on your car. And these idiots, and yes, I said it, they're idiots. These idiots will say, well, it said 1998 Lincoln, and I have a 1998 Lincoln. Well, what about the wheel in picture number 2, you moron? You didn't see that? And what about the fact that I charged $19 for it, And the popular chromium one is $130 any day on eBay. So that's basically what happened again. But one big difference. This time, I used my brain. I had a very rare no returns listing, all sales final, because I suspected I was going to reel in one of these fossils again. Sure enough, a fossil buys it. And I knew right away, from the moment I printed the label, I knew there was going to be a problem. And this is something I want all of you guys to think about and watch out for and tell me if I'm right or wrong. Let's use the name John Robert Smith as an example. Let's say a man's name, your age, my age, even a younger person. His name is John Robert Smith. He'll call himself John Smith, or if he's real fancy, John Robert Smith. These people over 80 years old love using an initial, and in this case, it would be J. Robert Smith. Let me tell you something. If someone buys your item with an initial like that, J. Robert Smith, look the freak out. You're going to have a problem. He's a geriatric. And that's what happened here. He bought this $19 hub, shipped it out to him, and all sales are final. Do you know he had mitigated gall to try and do a return on it? Now, when he clicks on return the item, eBay basically says right up front, the seller does not accept returns, period. However, you can file for a return if the item is not as described, like if it arrived damaged, whatever. So he tried to do a return, and he types out this whole explanation that he's got a 1998 Lincoln and it won't fit, and he can't include any pictures because he doesn't have a cell phone, and I think he said he didn't know what he was doing. All right. He then went ahead to say, the cap looks exactly like mine, except the center emblem is not black, it's a different diameter, and the backing looks a little different. And he put this in writing. To be fair, and I always try and be fair, even though I am a bit of a hothead, I've noticed myself, old people don't have the aptitude when you try and explain to them in person about the various nuances of cars, even if it's an old car. For instance, when I was a kid, I think I told this story once before, but it's good. I was a kid. I was a teenager. I worked in a junkyard. Steel wheels and even alloy wheels have different bolt patterns. So let's just say a 15-inch Ford wheel will have a different bolt pattern than a 15-inch GM wheel. So I was talking to this adult, and I'm not going to say who it was, and he had a 15-inch GM bolt pattern car. And he there were these two 15-inch Ford rims. And I'm explaining to him they will not fit. And he says to me, Joseph, why won't they fit? I have 15-inch with 5 lugs. These are 15-inch with 5 lugs. They're the same. I said, they're not the same. They're a different bolt pattern. Don't you understand? I couldn't convey this to this person, all right? Let's face it. It's a different generation, and I understand that. I don't fault them for it, but I do fault them for then trying to blame the seller and saying that it's my fault for sending them the wrong item, that it doesn't fit their car. It ain't my fault, okay? So anyway, for the first time in many, many months, even a year, I was able to decline a return on eBay. I declined the $19 return. It's not a matter of the $19. He needs to learn a lesson. He needs to know, be careful, do your homework, okay? You can't get a $135 item for $19. It's not going to happen. If any of you were looking to buy an item you really wanted, let's say it's this Gatorade cap. There's 20 of them listed on eBay. Every one is $130, except there's one that's $19. Now, there's a reason why it's $19, all right? Either there's something wrong with it, or it's not the same if you look. And that's the problem when you sell on eBay Motors. Buyers not only don't look, even the ones that do look, they don't get it. They don't get it. eBay Motors is so very different from eBay Core. I know a lot of you guys sell in collectibles, because I know some of you personally. I see you at the meetings, and you say to me, Joe, I get a kick out of your videos. How do you stay sane? I could never, ever put up with the nonsense you put up with. And they're telling the truth, because they'll show me they haven't had a return in a year. In a freaking year. You know how many returns I had this week already? And the week's not over? 6. Okay? Let's talk about that briefly. This is a good news and a bad news situation. The good news, every return, the buyer claimed they were wrong. For instance, 2 people claimed ordered by mistake. That's one that I still shake my head in disbelief about that one. Ordered by mistake. A few more claimed wrong size, doesn't fit. One of the most egregious ones, and I really need to explain this to you because it's happened before, and I want you guys to think what you would do. A person sent me a best offer on a set of hubs for $35. The set's $35 for the hubs and $35 shipping. It's a very bulky item going in an 18 by 18 by 9 box. Okay? But it's a dog. I was happy as hell to take this guy's $35 offer. All right? I accepted it. Send him the hubs. He gets them, opens a return. I bought the wrong size. Now, okay. In that case, he's admitting he made a mistake. I get that. All right? I'm not mad at the guy. But think about it this way. Right now, in front of him, he has a set of 4 hubs. All right? And in his wallet, he has $35. Picture this. 4 hubs over here, $35. Okay? He's willing to ship these 4 hubs back to me and spend this $35 to do so in order to get back his original $35. Are you with me? Are you with me? He's screwing himself. Right now, he's got 35 and these 4 hubs, which may be worthless to him, but he could sell them on eBay and possibly even come out ahead. No. He's sending them back to me, paying $35. Now he's got nothing. Nothing. He'll get his original $35 back, but when the smoke clears, he's lost $70 in shipping and has nothing to show for it. Whereas if he kept the items, he would have lost the $35 for the original shipping, but he would have the items which he could generate and sell for who knows how much. Now, truthfully, this is a bit of an egregious case as far as the shipping is concerned. But over the last few years, I have found buyers will spend any amount of money to ship the items back to me. even if they're taking a significant loss. To this day, my world's record, as you may remember, was the guy who spent $73 to get back $30. I don't think I will ever equal that guy. But if any of you guys have any interesting stories about returns like that, where they really screwed themselves over, I'd love to hear about them, okay? In last week's video, I told you guys I had a return for $15, and the guy was not going to come out ahead when you figure the shipping both ways. I asked you guys to type in your comments if any of you had a return $15 or lower, and I didn't see a single comment. So I'm going to ask you again. Have any of you ever had a person return an item $15 or under? Or is it just poor Joey? Also, 3 weeks ago, I issued a challenge, and now the 3 weeks is up. I asked you to look at all the Mercury Grand Marquis you see and tell me if they're not the filthy, dirtiest cars you've ever looked at, where you can't even see the glass because the people don't wash them. You can't see the driver. There's a pile of garbage in the back seat halfway up to the back window. If you've been watching those cars, I want to hear from you this week. Have you noticed what I'm talking about? Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to make a Mercury Grand Marquis filthiest car on the road video. It's going to take time because obviously I got to take pictures of these cars, and it's tough to do if you're driving on the highway and you see one. But I see a lot of them locally. A lot of them. I'm going to photograph every one of them for you, and I'm going to do an entire video on the filthiest car on the road, the Mercury Grand Marquis. Also, I plan on doing more New York City location videos. In fact, I'd really like to do one this Sunday. The problem is it has been cloudy and rainy every day this week, and it's going to continue straight through into next week. We're not having any dry days. The only day they said there might be some dry spells in between the showers will be on Sunday, which is good because that's the day I want to do it. That's the day there's the least amount of traffic, and I want to get out. I know a good place, and I think you'll enjoy it. But I got to be honest with you. The location in New York City videos are at least 10 times harder for me to do than a simple eBay video. And also, they don't get the amount of viewers as a rule as my eBay videos do. The only way the location videos get crazy views is if there's a mishap involved, like with a tractor trailer or a car accident or a shooting or something like that. Then they're going to get some hits. But if it's just a regular historical video, it's only die-hard historians like myself that really tune in and watch them. So yeah, that's basically it for now. I'm Crazy New York Driver, you're not. Thank you for watching this video. As I said earlier, my dog Molly is sleeping right here, and since I know you want to see her, there she is. Okay? Please comment about any of the topics that I've introduced tonight or any eBay topics you want to talk about. That's fine. We really need to do something about these bad buyers leaving malicious feedback. It's just out of control. It's always been an issue, but the last few years, man, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, guys, I hope you make a lot of money on eBay this week. Rock on and peace.